Hey Cupcakes, it is time for a new video on the channel. This is actually going to be going up a little bit later, but it's still going to be on time. I have not really mentioned it, but if you are watching my bookish content and my gaming content, my Sims 4 are computer fried, so I've been moving my stuff all onto a new computer, and we just got it up and working like last week because it was saying that it was installed but none of my packs were installed. So thankfully my husband fixed that and everything's working. So I will be having gaming content coming back onto the channel every week when I don't have a sit down video for you guys, but thankfully I do have a video that everyone planning to film anyway, so we'll go ahead and get this one as a placeholder until I can get up and going with my gaming again. So the video we're doing today is the mid-year freakout tag. I've been seeing a couple of creators doing it, and I went ahead and answered all the questions. So I only have 2 physical books to show you. I'm going to be literally doing a bunch of pictures of books to show you guys because I have been a Kindle girly for the whole year pretty much. I've had only a couple of physical books that I have been reading that were mainly priorities to get read. So just prefacing that now, it's going to be a lot of just pictures being popped up. So the best book that I read for the year is Slaying with Sylphs by Hazel Mack, which is the Haven Ever After series. It's the monster romance that I got recommended from Kitty by Spicy Cats on YouTube, and I'll place the cover here. I loved this book. Now, I loved every book that's in this series. I don't think I've ever really, I think there's like one book that I gave 3 stars, which I think is the Wrestling with Werewolves one. But so far, like, they're great. Like, they're all in the top tier ratings for me for each book. So I'm actually about to be reading a book from that author this month for July. So, needless to say, yeah, I loved that book. The best sequel I've had this year is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent, which is part of the Crown of Nyaxia series. It's after the first duology, but before the second set of duologies that are actually, one just came out, I think, last year, and the next one's coming out this year. And then there's like a little baby novella. So I've read everything, and I needed to read that one before I read the newest one that just came out, which is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, which I'm going to be reading also this coming month. So I read that one, and it was really good. The next release, new release I haven't read yet but want to, is Tusk Love by the Critical Role team. If you watch Critical Role or into Dungeons & Dragons, they had this book that they kept mentioning in the campaign too, that was about Tusk Love, and they actually came out with that book. I did not write down the author's name, and plus I wouldn't even be able to pronounce it because it's a beautiful, long, detailed name, and I don't want to butcher it. So it's by the Critical Role team. It was a baby thing that they created, and then it became a reality that it's a book. So I'm excited to get that one. I need to pre-order that one. That one's also on my July TPR. So the next question is your most anticipated release for the next 6 months. So I wrote down, actually went into my Goodreads and looked into what books I have that I've marked for one to read from authors. So the first one I wrote down for August 5th is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk, which is the next one to that Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. So I definitely need to read that one before I can get into that one, but I'm excited for that duology. And then on October 7th, we have 2 books coming out. One I knew about. It's Mate by Ali Hazelwood, which was the one that wrote, I actually have this book, wrote Bride. So the next book for this series is called Mate. I want to read that one because I love this one. I even tabbed it a little bit. Then we also have on that same day The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber, which is the one that wrote the Caraval series. You actually see there's Caraval right there, but then also wrote The Spectacular. So yeah, I'm into those. And then also the next book in the series for the Bookshops and Bone Dust and Legends and Lattes. Actually have more books than I thought, physical, but the next book to this series, which is called Brigands and Bread Knives, which is going to be following this character right here. So it's technically this is a prequel to this, and that's a prequel to this one. So it kind of goes backwards, but I like it that way because it came out really cute. So the next one for that one's going to be coming out on November 11th. So I'm going to consider that my birthday present to me when that one comes out, because I want it to match with the characters. There are covers like this of hardcovers that I like, but I like character art on my covers. I like to know what the character looked like or have a visual, because I do have a visual in my dream. I'm a very good like dreamer, but I'm not good when it comes to like characters while I'm reading. So I like to know what the author wanted them to look like instead of me trying to figure it out. So that's kind of another reason why I like the Hazel Mack series, because they have the character arts of all the monsters on the front, and I can picture what they look like when I'm reading them. So anyway, the biggest disappointment was Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I wanted to try T. Kingfisher, and that book was on my book club I was trying to do for spooky time. I picked that one and like 3 other books to choose from, and people voted that one, and I just could not get it. I think it's more magical realism, which is not my cup of tea. I've tried like 3 other magical realisms. Some of them were okay and cute, and I got the reference and everything about it, and then this one was just, I didn't like it. So, but my biggest surprise was Woke Up Like This by Amy Lee, I think is the author's name. This one is it's a doozy. So these 2 people are in school. They go to do decorations for the gym because they're like the VP and the president of the club in the high school, and she falls off a ladder onto him and falls, but then they like wake up and they're both realizing that it's like way into the future, and they have to figure out how to get back in the past, and it was wild, but I loved it. Favorite new author is Hazel Mack, that wrote the Haven Ever After series. I love her books. Fictional crush is I put down any of the werewolves from those series, because they're my kind of men. They're so sweet and so gentle, and just, they're great. That's all I'm gonna say. They're great. And then favorite character is a book I just recently finished, which is called Do Me a Favor by Kathy Yardley. The main character, Guy Hudson, perfect. And he's a single dad, but he was perfect. I loved him. Everything about him, how his quirks were, and the audiobook was perfect for them, so I loved that. And then Made Me Cry was the sequel to What a River Knows, which is Where the Library Hides. A lot more shit hits the fan in the second one, and things happened, and it made me cry. So I'm just going to leave it at that, because it's kind of a spoiler if you haven't read this one. So, yeah. It made me in my feels. I don't think I'd like sobbed, but I definitely was like very upset and sad. So, plus if I watch anything or read something where a person's upset, I also get upset. I'm very sympathetic. So it definitely made me upset. And then made me happy, on a lighter note, was Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. I loved the story, but I also loved that this was like a holiday themed. I mean, just look at these end pages. Gorgeous. And then the girls with their corresponding colors. But yeah, it's a beautiful book. And then like, I mean, candy canes. Oh, and the chapters, every chapter had like a very beautiful big picture to start it. So I was in love with this book. Definitely made me happy. Let's see. And then beautiful book. I hauled this actually at Half Price Books in the clearance section. I read this book on Kindle, but it is The Fragile Enchantment by Allison Saff, and they just had it like this, a hardcover, but look at that. Look at that beautiful foiling and scissors, because she's a seamstress, and these flowers. I think it's gorgeous. I was literally like, when I was thinking about it, I was like, this is gorgeous. This is a beautiful hardcover book. So that's that. And then books I need to read. So this is going to be a little bit of a list, but I went ahead and just took my 25 and 2025 book bingo board that I have and what squares I have left to read, because I do have the Our Fantasy bingo, but some of them match with that bingo card and then a couple others, but this list would be super long if I wrote the rest of the ones I need to read on that. I will just catch up with that when I can. So for just that bingo board alone, I have Smitten with Ravioli by Ellen Jacobson. I have 12 Dates Later by McKenna Cross. I have The Kingdoms of Velspar by M.J. Spires. I have That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming, which I think is going to be a book club book for Kitty sometime this year, I think September. So I'll definitely get to that one like when it's read with other people. Dolores Stariel by A.J. Lancaster. Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. That is a debut author book I wanted to read because that was the prompt for the bingo board, as a debut author. So I still don't have that book, just like I don't have Tusk Love just yet, but I need to get both of those so I can read them. And then the last one, y'all are going to be so annoyed with me. It's over here actually on this stack of books that I pulled for June's TBR, The Midnight Library. Still haven't read it, guys. It will get read, I promise. I literally put it on 2 boards for Amazing Readathon, and it still didn't get read. I didn't read a single physical book for that readathon. I had all Kindle books after I made my chart again, and I only read 1 book out of that whole thing. I switched all my physical books to Kindle books and still only read 1. And you know why? Because it was an audiobook. That's the only reason. And I read it last minute on the last day of the readathon. I finished that book. So it will get read. Promise. Sometime, whenever, I don't know when, but it will. But that is the end of my mid-year freakout tag, and I will put the questions down below in my description, so if you want to do this tag as well, you can. And yeah, until then, I'll see you soon. Stay sweet, cupcakes. Bye.